Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Stephen Marabong, and welcome to our ARD. Um, Today is Friday, April 24th, 2020. Now, I will present to you the full individual evaluation of John. And first, John is born on October 13, 2010. So he is 10 years old and he is in third grade currently. And the reason why he was referred, the parents wants to know if how because they wanted to see if John will qualify in the special education program or not. So that's the reason. And the language that John used at home um, is he was when he started he used Filipino. So so when he first learned acquired language, it's more Filipino at home, and then later on he uses English. So his stronger language is in Filipino. So that's his first language. All right. So but then he is both. He's both. He could speak both now. In third grade, he could speak both English and Filipino. So physically, John is he's a typical 10-year-old um, Asian kid. He's not very tall, and he is a petite kid. Nothing extraordinary, just a regular sized kid, sized Asian kid, and he doesn't have any trouble physically. He's pretty agile. Nah, I see nothing wrong with him physically. He just he does what the typical kid in his age group does. Play, uh, move a lot. That's okay. And yeah, he likes sports. You know, and so far in his school performance, he doesn't have his grades are between C, D, and sometimes B, but mostly C, D. So far, I don't see any Fs in there, so there's no failing grade so far with him. He doesn't have a huge grades. I mean, big grades, but his um, grades are all passing so far. Um, he could adjust well with his environment, with his classmates. In fact, he is well liked by both his teachers and his classmates. He is a very obedient kid. He follows instructions. He doesn't uh, he doesn't cause problems or troubles. Um, with his classmates, he could adjust. He plays with them, and so far there's no social issues with him. No problems. And emotionally and behaviorally, he's he's well liked. He uh, he doesn't show any behavior problems at all in school based on my interview. Okay, and now I want to share his cognitive ability based on the we used Woodcock Johnson to measure his cognitive or his ability to think. Um, so in his comprehension knowledge, John is very low. What it means is his comprehension is really low in the typical age level, in his typical age level, and his fluid reasoning is scored 53, and it's very low also. So his ability to reason is very low. His short-term working memory is 81, low average. So that's not very bad. He is he is that is his strength, in fact. So based on his performance in here, at least he could recall. It's still low in compared to the standard of his age group, but it is his strength compared to his other cognitive abilities. Now his cognitive efficiency is 59, which is extremely low, meaning to say he doesn't he is not efficient in his thinking. He could not make some judgment right away. He could not think right away. He could not retrieve uh, information right away. Okay, so that is his cognitive ability. Now in um, his his achievement result. Okay, so now if we you see that he was consistently very low, uh, except for his working memory, which is 89, which is low average. Now compared it to his achievement, meaning what he does in school, what he learned from school. So that is his achievement. The cognitive is more on what he's capable of. Now in his achievement, what he has achieved in as a third grader student. So first in his reading, it is very low, and his basic reading skills are also very low. So that means his ability to read and his he almost has very low chance of being able to read and being able to understand what he's reading. His mathematics is also very low. His academic applications is also very low. So if based on those information, you could see that his cognitive and his achievement are pretty consistent. So very consistent uh, with both of them go together. Now, the thing is, if you see, uh, usually on this case, they will usually be diagnosed. Perhaps they have extreme disabilities because of the very low scores. But then when when I ask the teacher, the third grade teacher, as to his performance, yeah, they admit that John is really very low. But the thing is, he's still passing he passed all his subjects in spite of him struggling, because he's a hardworking student, and if he doesn't understand, he asks, and he's willing to learn. So but he's struggling, and his parents are very supportive with him. They help him out. So perhaps that could be the reason that in spite of all the difficulties, um, in spite of all the very low cognitive ability and his academic performance from testing, he was still able to do it, you know. And now his assistive technology. John doesn't need any assistive technology because he doesn't have physical defects. He functions as a normal kid, as a typical of his age group. So yeah. Now, so just like what I said, as a summary, during the testing though, in his cognitive testing. He was a little he was not in his he was playing he played he was actually playing when I came, so it seems that he was not very interested, let's say, during the time in compared to when he was testing in the cognitive. Everything was good, but then when he was testing with me on the achievement, he kind of he kind of just I don't see a really the same intensity, the same focus he gave compared to when I was giving the cognitive testing. So that might affect his achievement test in a way. But then I see consistency in the result. So I cannot tell for sure. Uh, so in his based on the data that I have, and based on his performance, based on my interviews with the teachers, um, I would say that John doesn't qualify as a for a any specific learning disability. He was pretty much consistent with his cognitive ability is pretty much consistent with his achievement, and also he doesn't need um, it's pretty consistent, and he is passing in all his subject areas. So for now, although I would recommend that for future, I would recommend if in the along the way, based on the result, he may struggle as he progress to the higher grade level. Uh, his hard work may compensate now, but it may not compensate in the future when he move up to a more complex and more challenging grade levels. So I would recommend that he might for additional testing as as he move up. Now my recommendations to him will be uh, since he doesn't qualify, but then in the classroom that he might be he will be provided an extra time just in case he will struggle, especially in the area of reading, because he really struggles in the area of reading. So he will be given time, and extra time for him, especially to complete the complex task assignments. And if in case there are some the for the vocabulary, he will be given visual help to kind of compensate, because there might be some words that he will not be able to read. So visual materials will be really beneficial for him, and or visuals, yep, to understand even in math, you know. So and to improve John's mathematics, he needs to practice math facts over and over. So there will be it will there will be it will be automatic for him. Encourage him to learn the facts by heart, so that he can solve the word problems more easily. Considering having a peer work on flashcards with him when time allows. Okay, and then next, let John practice memorizing math facts using cards and observe the speed of how he answers the math questions. So, if you recall, John has a good, his strength is in, uh, he has good memory. So, it's better for him to use that memory that would to his advantage by making him recall math facts easily, so that he doesn't have to really exert a lot of energy recalling the the information. It will be automatic for him. And then let John experience real life situations by paying in store and help figure out the chains, or the money chains. Um, John might struggle. He will really struggle in the real life situation unless he will be able to get some help in by paying, let's say, real life situations. Let's say instead of the parents buying, paying to the store, it should be John that would be, be trained to pay and then figure out how much change he will receive. So he will have some kind of a real life grasp of what math should you will be used for. He will struggle, but that would be a very good experience for him, a motivation for him, so that he will see the need for him to really learn math for practical purposes. Okay, and all right, to improve John's uh, writing skills, because he is, if you cannot read, you cannot write also, and then his writing is not very very developed. Okay, so let John practice using writing prompt to formulate the simple sentence with visual cues, and then remove the visual prompt as he improves his writing. Let's say the chicken blank. So he will or he will have to fill out the missing word by himself, or uh, Ria walks on the, you know so just to complete sentences, and then as he progressed, uh, limit the cues, so, and then remove the visual prompt as he improves his writing. Let John let John use a commonly used words, so just the typical day-to-day kind of words. All right, and then to improve John's basic reading, expose John to computer apps that would help him with his reading skills. Yet there's a lot of apps at this point. You have Mind Play, a lot of reading apps that he could use. So B. Practice blending on his phonics. John struggling to read, so blending will be very helpful. Phonemic awareness, blending will be beneficial to him. Next, let him memorize grade level sight words to fast track while learning his phonics. It's also good to learn for him to learn sight words. All right, so to improve short-term memory, the first is use common visual cues like objects, pictures, models, diagrams. Yep. Next, use short and simple sentences to ensure understanding. Next, repeat instructions or directions frequently. Use mnemonics or words, sentences, pictures, device, or techniques for improving or strengthen John's memory. Next, ask John if further clarification is necessary. The good thing about John, though, is he asks questions. He doesn't have trouble with that. He built good rapport with his teacher. So, but encourage him to ask questions. Okay. Use strategies for remembering, such as elaborative rehearsal and clustering information together. Then next, last one, use strategies such as chunking, backward shaping, or teach the last part of a skill first. Forward shaping and row modeling. Now, you got to really show it, demonstrate all the skills, all the skills that you want John to learn. All right, and then for the parent recommendation, because John will need a lot of support, not just in school but also at home. So parent recommendations: the parent can ensure that uh, John will consistently do his work with minimal to no help, or to encourage independence. So while he's at home, the parents could, when John is working on his homeworks, parents will be there and watch as John will do his work, but don't interfere with it. Let John show what he can do, but then if there's something he wants to ask question with, make the parents should at least be available to help him understand what he is doing, or what the assignment or the homework is all about. Next, it will benefit John if the parent will check if John has questions on his lessons, if he's working on his homework. So the parent should be there, and then if John have questions, the parent can answer. The parent can at least check if John is doing it right. And then the last one, encourage John to work on his online works a couple of hours during weekends. John pretty much love to to do his work in class, so it will benefit to use that drive even at home, for him to be able to use the time, extra time at home. 1 hour to 2 hours uh, in Saturdays and Sundays would be good for him. All right. And thank you so much, and I appreciate you listening, and have a good day, and have a safe day. Thank you. Bye bye.